Hello and welcome to the Decibel Boost Podcast, the official music podcast of the website Surreal Resolution. I'm your host Robert, and holy shit, I had no idea Ted Cruz was that much of a dork. Nerd. And with me I have...
That freaking Adventure Time finale was something else. I'm still trying to figure out if that was a Gynax ending or just,
And...
Good thing I catch the second air of it because then I fell asleep. And also got another ad because I talk about Adventure Time than the other thing that happened this week.
I'm feeling many emotions right now.
But did you hit a biker with a burrito?
Wait, what?
That's the clip from Anchorman. The glass case of emotion clip.
The bad man do? The motorcycle on the bridge. I hit him with a burrito. Ron, where are you? I'm in a glass case of emotion.
Oh, that's what that is. I've never actually seen that movie in full. I just know every quote that people always say.
Well, you know what they say. 60% of the time, it works every time.
That's funny. But yeah, man, why do these things that I like have to end after so many years?
Regular show, Adventure Time. We're getting old.
Don't forget about Samurai Jack last year. Oh, right, and next year starts with Kingdom Hearts 3, so... So much closer on things I've spent so much of my life on. Where does the time even go? But yeah, that was a very satisfying finale, but we're not here to talk about that. We probably have other places for that. But anyway, episode 96. So how's everything going with all y'all?
It's been going all right. I got my speeding ticket thing sorted out to where I didn't have to go to court. I'm not going to get any points on my license. And I have some more time to pay it off. So yay for me. The system worked. For
Hooray.
once. Yeah. And aside from that, I haven't been doing much. It's been kind of a slow week. And I've just been spending my time playing Clone Hero because I'm getting kind of good at that with my weird setup. And of course, Adventure Time, the finale, Marcy and PB.
Yeah, finally. Let the ship sail.
At the very end. Well, better late than never, I suppose.
And Mark, what about you?
Oh, well, today actually, this week, at least the past week, I have seen a movie. Even though it's on Netflix, but, it counts, but yeah. I thought it's all the movie called The After Party, which stars one guy who's one super duper guy. Yeah, that's the one with Kyle with his movie. And
wait, he does movies?
He did one now, and apparently this one, Rockstar Hip Hop is one of the companies behind it.
Boy.
And I'm just gonna say this,
I was about to say, speaking of WorldStar, we're not going to talk about Machine Gun Kelly, okay?
Oh God, no, why?
I was gonna bring that up.
I'm just saying, if anyone was going to ask us, why didn't you talk about that song on WorldStar Hip Hop? Because we don't want to. Simple.
Oh boy. But yeah, those type of movies where it's like, there's your typical upcoming rapper story that you would have seen in 2000s. Yeah, this movie feels dated. It feels like something that would have been made in the mid 2000s. I mean, Kyle.
Oh.
It's like I'm trying to get a record deal because people still do that today. Huh?
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, and one more thing. I finally stepped into the world that is Verb. Yeah, I got Verb now.
Ah, very nice.
I
Have you
wonder
been watching
why.
some of the Nick Splat shows on there? Like, all of them?
Yeah. I watched Keen and Kel recently.
I dropped the screw with the tuna.
I dropped the screw in the tuna.
I totally forgot Coolio did the song.
And I think that was 20 years ago, and Kid Thompson is like 40 something, and he looks like he's still 30. Black don't crack. Know that.
That it?
Yeah, that's it.
Anyway, as for me, well, no trip to the movies this past weekend, but I did play a show on Saturday night. Just a 3-band thing off in this little, club place that also had a Mediterranean food truck that for some reason sold one of those tornado pretzel things. Not pretzel, potatoes, you know the ones.
Like,
you see them in like fucking State Fair try-food videos. Shit like that. It tasted good. It was a very swirly potato. Also, since I got paid, and since there was a discount, I hooked my own self up with a copy of Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze on the Switch. And that's pretty much what I've been playing all weekend. And I beat it in about, let's say, 2.5 days. Now I'm just going through and, trying to go for a full completion run of collecting all the puzzle pieces and Kong letters. Maybe not the time attacks yet, because fuck that noise. But yeah, I'm kicking myself for having missed this on the Wii Woo. This is some prime Kong action. They even brought back Dixie, who is the best Kong. But yeah, that's basically about it. So now let's move on to our usual business here. So let's first start off with the new song discussions for the past week. Of course, there will be a playlist down in the description so you can follow along with us and, know what we're talking about here. And of course, this week, we're of course going to start things off with Mr. Mark over here. So you have the floor for this first song.
Yes. So we took a lot of Chicago MCs the past few weeks. Like we talked about Joey Perp, Chance the Rapper, but now there's another one that's been around for a hot minute. It is Mick Jenkins. No, he pretty much smelled like he used to like a mixtape, The Waters, way back in 2004, and then his album, his debut album, The Young Component, back in 2016, and now he got a new album coming out, Piece of a Man, this fall, no release date yet, and he got another single out apparently. This one produced by his longtime collaborator and producer that I love to bring up here, Kaytranada, and it's called "What Am I to Do."
Nice.
And I'm gonna say this. First production, man, it is banging. Like this have got that boom bass side with the really dreamy funk rap to it, which sound like some early Kanye West, like college dropout era Kanye West. But yeah, this shit sounds fire, especially if it's with Mick. Like Mick Jenkins, he's a very very good conscious rapper. I do love this line he got there where he says, a triple beam on the bigger schemes. I'm on these waves. Don't expect a handy clap because you from upstream. I expect the Sanchez. I be in the green. And from greenbacks, I back in the black. They have the Formula 6 Similac. They look at flows on the heavy metal bars, but it's still attack. But yeah, this point, like what I'm about to do, it is like basically that whole thinking about like what the fuck I'm gonna do with this. In a situation like what the hell am I gonna do with this shit, like, or at least going around. Like I can click with that shit. Like I did like his last album, and whenever at least this one, like I'm keeping my eyes on that because I mean, it also means hey he may have more Kaytranada productions on there, which I'm all up for.
Yeah, this song's got some cool bars in there, and the beat sounds pretty cool. Hell, it almost kind of sounds like a remix of like a Thundercat instrumental in that sense. It's got that same kind of vibe to it, but of course filtered through what Kaytranada loves doing. So,
yeah,
thumbs up in my book.
Oh yes, this is damn good.
But now let's move on from that to the dudes in clipping. So, as you know, they are contributing an original song to the Rick and Morty soundtrack, which is coming out proper on September 28th, with the, super ultra mega double dip collector's vinyl extra thing coming out sometime in November.
That's
for those that want to throw down all the cash for this package. And so we actually now do, in fact, have that clipping song appropriately titled Stab Him in the Throat. Isn't that just so appropriate for this context?
Oh.
Now, I will say, instrumentally, it's one of the more straightforward clipping songs I've ever heard. Probably the most. It's basically like, you know, a sort of club trap banger basically built out of various samples from the Rick and Morty theme song. And, you know, even from like that ending credits stinger from, I forget which of the production companies it is, but, you know, the yeah, you know, that one.
That would be Dan Harmon's production company.
That one.
Whatever it is.
Yeah, we'll look it up later. And, yeah, you know...
No. That's... No, Dan Harmon's is... Did you get any of that? I think the one before that might be Justin Roiland. I'm not entirely sure.
I think it's the one with, like, the claymation logo. I want to be sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. Or was it Vanity Card? I think that might have been the one. We'll look this up later, basically. And, yeah, so, of course, the lyrics have plenty of references to Rick and Morty stuff, you know, like Getting Swifty, Pickle Rick, Szechuan Sauce, and That's the Way the News Goes. All of that stuff with plenty of lyrics about stabbing someone in the throat for a context that I'm still not sure about. I don't know if it's like a fucking like drug deal gone wrong or something like, you know, some guy fucking with a chick at a club that she doesn't want any of that shit, so just like, you know, stab him in the throat. But either way, you know, it sounds pretty badass for a clipping song. Like, I'm all for it.
Yeah, me too. Like, at first when I heard the sample, I felt like, okay, these are the theme song, okay, and then they twisted that shit into something different. Like, okay, I like the way they used the sample of that, along with that, and the various Dan Harmon, or was it the music from the Justin Rolling logo at the end, where it's like yup, that, you know, that shit. But yeah, but yeah, I like this track. This sound. I love that the shit sounds as forceful as I thought it was gonna be, because we make something called stab in the throat. I need something as visceral as that. You gotta make a visceral sound for a song titled that.
Yeah, it's definitely a good banger and a bopper, and it's just, you know, good, clean, wholesome fun. And I want to point out here, this deluxe box set of the soundtrack will actually have a bonus 7-inch single, which will have an extended mix of, from the second season finale on clear vinyl, The Screaming Sun.
Look, you guys, the sun's rising!
I'm definitely working that into this episode.
That's just fantastic, isn't it?
Indeed. But now let's move on from the Rick and Morty into just some straight up metal. I feel like we haven't had a good talk about some metal in a while. So, the lads in Soulfly, you know, the Max Cavalera fronted metal project, are dropping a new album October 19th called Ritual. And we have the title track here, which also comes courtesy with one of those weird-ass 360-degree video things that I can never really get to work because I'm listening to these on my computer. And I'm pretty sure the 360 shit is making them all, like, drag down slowly. You know, dragging down the speeds. Pretty sure it's just me. But yeah, this certainly sounds like some Soulfly, alright? The opening is incredibly, you know, just tribal with all that, you know, clattering percussion and, you know, the vocal chants and everything. And then the rest of the song is just, like, straight, like, grooving riffs, you know, getting into some thrashier parts here and there. You know, Max Cavalera's vocals are as gravelly and full of heft as they ever are. You know, it's Soulfly. If you're already on board with them at some point in the past, you're on board with it now. It's an entertaining enough song. I can dig it.
Yep, pretty good song. More Max Cavalera is always welcomed, but the whammy guitar effects on this track feel a bit too overused metalcore parody for this track. It sounds like something I'd hear in a parody video from Andrew Baina or K-Mac, you know?
Wow, you keep pulling up all these names that I have no idea who they are.
That's on you. You gotta look out on the YouTubes, man. There are good people out there.
You know, you say that, but like 9 out of every 10 YouTubers is telling me about how white people are getting replaced or something, and I'm like, no thanks. Or it's, you know, fucking weird anime people throwing hissy fits for petty reasons. But I'm sure you've already talked enough about that.
Yes, I have.
But anyway, let's move on from that to something that I'm, in fact, quite hyped about, and this may be easily the most hyped shit on the, this week, at least for me. So, the boys in the prog metal act Haken, or Haken, however it's pronounced, they are dropping their newest full-length album on October 26th. It is called Vector, and I greatly enjoy these guys. These guys are some primo, prog shit for all you snobs out there. You prog snobs out there. And so we have the first official single from the album, The Good Doctor, which is pretty short and to the point, at least relative to some of their other songs. Like, this is just like a clean, like, just shy of 4 minutes, pretty much. And it pretty much wastes, like, no time getting started, It starts with, like, those noodling guitar melodies and, a lot of, like, that droning synth over top the rest of the grooves and everything. And shit, when it transitions to the verses, it has something that they did on, like, their last album. They sort of pulled in a lot of 80s aesthetic influences, especially in, like, the songwriting and, like, the album packaging and everything. And I guess they still keep some of that because they have, like, that 80s, like, drum machine thing that, like, transitions between, like, that opening and the verse. And, there's a lot of that pretty, slap-heavy bass groove driving that. Some of the computery bleeps and blips. And, it's all, proggy as shit. And then you get metal as fuck with, like, those off-kilter, like, triplet chug-heavy, guitar grooves. Just, kind of playing off that and the weird, like, rhythms that the drums are playing. Just kind of, like, trading off each other. It's all really, like, cool shit. All in a concise package if you don't have 15 minutes to spend on a song. I'm digging it.
Yep, this is some very, very, very fine prog goodness. And if you're wondering why this track sounds so good, that's because Adam Get Good, or Nolly as he's known as, is the one doing the mixing on it.
Oh boy!
Yeah, and it seems like Haken wants to make my album of the year list because I now have some pretty good expectations come October. I'm ready for more.
Now, the real question is, how are they going to stack up to Rivers of Nile?
It might be close to number 2.
Might be close.
I'm telling you, they're still going to be number 1 no matter what.
We'll see where the big picture ends up in this whole thing come October.
Will this make your album of the year? I don't know. Stay tuned and find out.
Next time on Dragon Ball Z. Anyway, moving on to the next song on the list here. So, we're talking about some punk here. Just some good old-fashioned punk. Well, maybe not completely old-fashioned, but whatever. Just straightforward punk, no hardcore or none of that post-hardcore stuff. But we're talking about Laura Jane Grace and the Devouring Mothers, which, as the name implies, features front woman Laura Jane Grace, who you may all know as the front woman of Against Me. A band that I'm sure a lot of the punk people listening to this are probably familiar with. I've still only ever heard their first album, Reinventing Axl Rose. I got a bit of a backlog to keep up with here. And yeah, they were on the Adult Swim singles like a couple years ago, I believe, so, But yeah, this new project is dropping their debut album, Bought to Rot, on November 9th. So we have the first single, Apocalypse Now, and Later. And yeah, this is just pretty, like, simple and straightforward. Like, it's basically just a really steady kind of a folk tune with kind of like a sort of punkish attitude. Like, it almost kind of sounds like some Frank Turner stuff, but just filtered through Laura's own, creative sensibilities. And yeah, there is like that bit of a guitar solo thing, where it gets electric for a minute. But other than that, the rest of it is just like, straight folk stuff. So for the Against Me fans who, are already all about this stuff, you might like this one. I mean, I heard that apparently Against Me does get a bit folky at times, so this just seems like a natural extension of that. I'm not really sure. I got a big picture that I need to fill in, but, it's okay song, I suppose.
Yeah, honestly, I've never been a super big Against Me fan, and I'm saying that with the exclamation point, kind of like how you call the Spaghetti Incident, with a question mark like that.
Oh.
Yeah, because, I'm particular like that. So, going into this, I didn't know what to expect. After hearing it, yeah, it's alright. It's a good bit of punk and folk fused into one another. It's pretty good. I may not check out the full album since it's not really something I'd be totally into, but as a sample, it's alright.
But that's the last alright song we're going to be hearing this week, because our last one this week just to spoil the mood, and this is also a November 9th release, so, in the past, we've talked about a grand total of 3 different Muse songs. Pretty much all within the past year, if I recall correctly, and, we have a 4th here, and this time there's actually a new album. We knew about this with the 3rd single, but now all the details are out on the table. So Muse's latest disappointment pressed onto optical media is called Simulation Theory, coming out November 9th, and it's clear they're trying to ride the whole synthwave trend, given that this album art is, well, it basically looks like some Hotline Miami shit. Courtesy of graphic designer and artist Kyle Lambert, who is most recognized for, amongst other things, the Stranger Things logo, and a whole bunch of other similar graphic design work. And so they had to give us this song to go along with the album announcement, The Dark Side. And, you know, this song really is trying to be synthwave. Like, you know, you have so many of just, like, those types of synth chords and sounds and textures and everything. It's a pretty steady, drum beat and everything. Some mob bits of guitar in there. The bass is definitely saturated as hell on this. Matt Bellamy's vocals are really high pitched. Holy shit. You know what I just realized? This literally just hit me. This song is literally just Hysteria Part 2. Like, you took... Let me get this straight, Muse. You took one of your only, 4 good songs and decided to remake it again as a mediocre synthwave jam that does, nothing but make me wish I was listening to Carpenter Brute right now? Fucking why? Jesus Christ. It's like, let's hope there aren't synthwave remix of Stockholm Syndrome, Assassin, or Knights of Sidonia on this, because if there is, then shit, you've basically pissed away the 3 other bits of goodwill you now have.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. They're really going full force with the 80s synthwave aesthetic, and I'm hoping... probably in vain, but I'm hoping that this is the tipping point of this whole synthetic rock scene we're in the middle of. I hope we'll get past it soon enough, but I'm not going to cross my fingers on it. The track is bleh, very, very bleh, and listening to this as a grand picture kind of thing, I don't get what Muse is anymore. Is it still a full band? Is it just Matt Guillory with a lot of electronics? What even is Muse in 2018? We've gone through the album with the terrible dubstep song, whatever that was. The Second Law, that's what it was. We went through that. We went through Drones. Now we're dealing with this, and God, this is just, I don't know. I just don't know anymore. I
don't think any of us do anymore, man. It's like Muse is just taking up space that could go up to other musical acts that aren't wasting our goddamn time. Anyway, that's basically it for the new song discussion, so we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we of course have news topics to deliver to your faces. So, stick around. And we're back. So for this first news article, let's take a trip to the movies. A trip that we technically won't have to actually take until 2019. Although I'm not sure why I'd want to take that trip, since apparently this is a movie that will heavily feature Ed Sheeran as himself.
Oh boy.
Why?
Okay, so here's the gist. So, this guy Danny Boyle, which I feel like I should know that name from somewhere, but I'm blanking so hard right now. Is directing a currently untitled film, which is coming out in September 2019. Which, by the way, isn't that when part 2 of It comes out? I think that's when that comes out. I'll have to double check. But yes, directed by him, written by Richard Curtis. But he's not the main star. The main star is an actor named Himesh Patel. The premise of the movie is that Patel is a musician who wakes up one day to discover that he is the only person on planet Earth who remembers anything about the music of the Beatles. Everyone else just kind of forgets, so he is able to pretty much use that knowledge to his advantage to become, like, I guess the most famous musician in the world, because he's copying the most famous band in the world that ultimately no one remembers because, you know, whatever weird movie universe logic they used to get to this conclusion. And apparently there's a bit where Sheeran, playing himself, discovers this character and takes him out, you know, on tour with him. And apparently they were, like, filming this around a bunch of his, like, actual live gigs. So however the hell that figures into the movie, I guess y'all gotta wait until 2019 for that.
This sounds like the laziest framing device for a concert film ever.
I mean, it very well could be that. Maybe there technically actually is a story here, but, you know, I'm not holding my breath.
Yeah.
So,
and by the way, Danny Boyle is the director of Trainspotting, Slumdog Millionaire, and 127 Hours, and was going to be on the next James Bond movie before that whole thing sort of, you know, fell apart.
Oh.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Don't you really like Trainspotting or something?
Yes, it is a fantastic movie.
I don't think I've ever seen that one, though.
You should definitely watch it, but...
Or Slumdog Millionaire.
That too, but avoid the Trainspotting sequel. It doesn't quite hold up.
Wait, when did they make a sequel?
2017.
Last year.
Huh. Okay, then.
But yeah, this is what he... Well, he left Bond due to creative differences, but you better hope this project works. I mean, and I just hope, like, you know what I mean, like, they can make a mistake or some shit.
Yeah, let's hope for, you know, the best for him. But anyway, moving on to our next story here, a festival announcement. Those are always fun. And it appears to come from Mr. Almond Milk himself, J. Cole, who's announced the lineup for his own inaugural festival, Dreamville. You know, we had Posty Fest, you know, announced last week, and he's got Dreamville announced, and it's taking place. Holy shit, this is happening in 2 weeks. Yeah, apparently Dreamville is happening September 15th at the Dorothy Dix Park in Raleigh, North Carolina.
It's on town.
Yeah. So the lineup here, of course, he's performing, and some of the other scheduled acts include SZA, Big Sean, Young Thug, Nelly. Okay, I didn't know Nelly was still around. Rich the Kid, Teyana Taylor. Let me see. Does it say Bass or Nas? I can't tell which.
That is... Actually, I don't know. I'm not seeing it. I'm seeing... Oh, here it is. Friggin' cropping. That says Boss.
Alright, Boss. So, Jid as well, Rhapsody, Saba, Earth Gang, YBN Corday, and a whole bunch of others who I don't really know at all.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So, I guess the J. Cole stands will have fun at this one.
Although, one question does, it hasn't bothered me, because I'm going to say this. Do J. Cole fans even like Young Thug? Because I feel like they won't. Or at least they say some...
I don't know.
I know the Big SZA, who wouldn't, and Rhapsody, who wouldn't, and Teyana Taylor, and she's good too. Would they even like Big Sean though?
I mean, look, I don't know, man. J. Cole has his own weird taste. I mean, remember, Kendrick Lamar apparently liked XXX tomato sauce, so...
Okay.
You know, you're never really... You can never really make sense of your favorite rapper's favorite rapper. It's just... It's this whole confusing thing.
Yeah, there's J. Cole, my favorite rapper.
That's true. Nowhere near close to any of ours. So, yeah, of course, to all you North Carolinians and J. Cole stans, and wherever you exist in the middle, have fun with that. We'll be doing other things on the 15th.
Yeah.
Yep,
So,
I'm sure not going to drive up to Raleigh for this.
I mean, maybe drive up to Raleigh for some barbecue, but not for a J. Cole fest.
We got good barbecue here in Charlotte.
Oh, okay then. But anyway, time to move on to our last story here. Alright, so it's already looking like preparations are underway for the 2019 iteration of the annual 70,000 Tons of Metal Cruise, taking place January 31st through February 4th, going between Miami, Florida, and Labadee, Haiti, sorry.
I was like, what the fuck?
So, of course, as those preparations are underway, the first round of artists have, of course, been posted up on the official Facebook page, so we can finally get a sense of what the actual lineup will look like, what bands y'all be watching when you're not, chilling out sunbathing in your black band shirts. That was a bad joke, I apologize. But yeah, let's actually look at the first round lineup of acts that have been announced so far. So, in the order listed here, we have Accept. Wait, Accept is still around? I thought they were just an 80s thing.
Apparently so, and they're still kicking your balls to the wall, man.
We have Eluvatai. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I've never been able to pronounce that name right. And I think I've actually listened to their music once or twice, so. Subway to Sally. Vomitory. Delane. Ooh, Einsiferum. I kind of dig those guys.
Yeah.
Persephone. I also like them. Warbringer. That's a good one. The Black Dahlia Murder. Yeah. Of course, Glory Hammer. All hail Angus McFife. And last but not least on the deck here is Coroner. So, that's, again, that's just the first wave. So, we got some big names, some names I've never heard of. But it seems like a good mix, some power metal, some prog, some folk, some death metal. So, metalheads of all types are probably going to be satisfied, assuming you can actually afford to go travel to one of these things. Unlike me, who's perpetually too broke to afford a cruise like this.
Yeah, I've always been kind of hesitant about going on a cruise liner. I just have this kind of weird fear that something's going to happen, like we'll get capsized, or we'll get caught in a bad storm, or, something else. I blame lots of bad TV and movies for putting those thoughts in my head.
Well, I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen to you out in the open seas? You're going to hit a Sharknado? Psst. I mean, look, worst case scenario, you hit like a giant iceberg, and then your life story gets turned into an Academy Award-winning movie like fucking 50 years later. Wait, did Titanic win any Academy Awards?
I think it did.
Good question.
I think it did.
Since we don't have much else to talk about, let's take a look. And
'cause I know it made all of the money, until
accolades.
Avatar made the rest of the money.
Yes.
And Infinity War made even more money.
It won 11 Academy Awards.
Oh!
Out of 14.
That's a
including
lot.
Best Picture and Best Director.
Yeah, that's a lot. Let's
Yep.
see. So 11 divided by 14. That's like 78.57% of the Academy Awards.
Mm-hmm.
Numbers are fun, aren't they? Yeah, we're just stalling at this point. I didn't think we'd be over this fast. Damn.
Yeah, even with
But yeah, of course we're gonna go ahead.
I was like, even with the things I cannot mention here that happened during the break or whatever happened to me, at least.
Behind the scenes technical difficulties.
They a bitch.
Yeah, we've been getting those a lot recently. And don't worry, I'll probably stall it with like random clips from cartoons where relevant. But yeah, so let's, with all that news out of the way, let's round things out by talking about the new album releases for September 7th, 2018. Starting at the top, we have the newest album from, Stoner Rockers Clutch with Book of Bad Decisions. We have a new album from crossover thrash titan Suicidal Tendencies with Still Psycho Punk after all these years. Prog metalers Sky Harbor with their newest album Sunshine Dust. Lenny Kravitz is apparently still at it with a new project, Raise Vibration. Paul McCartney with his newest solo album, Egypt Station. We, of course, have the latest album from Paul Simon with In the Blue Light. So if you need 2 musical fossils to fill out your listening habits this weekend, there you go. The newest album from, electronic music pioneer Spiritualized with And Nothing Hurt. Or were they Space Rock pioneers? I forget. They're a big deal, basically. A new EP, actually, from Waxahachie with Great Thunder. A new studio project from Crash Thompson's boy Swamp Dogg with Love, Loss, and Autotune. And last but most certainly not least, the much anticipated return of grindcore veterans Pig Destroyer with their newest album, Head Cage. It's gonna be a fun Friday. So now it is time to clean house and get the hell out of here. So Alex, where can they find you on the internet?
As always, just look for the username Aura of Azure, where I will probably be spending more time than not, well, enjoying some football, because it's that time of the year again. Yay!
Mark, what about you?
As usual, Matt Tyler Media on Twitter and on my site, my hobby one at hobbyone.wordpress.com. Yeah, that's it.
That is it. And as for me, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and CuriousCat at RobBarracuda. Email me, robert@surrealresolution.com with any questions, comments, concerns, and all of that good stuff. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on Google Play and iTunes. Do audio-only episodes go up every Wednesday. Video usually goes up by the weekend on the official YouTube channel of Surreal Resolution. Just subscribe and hit the bell tab so you're always notified when new episodes of stuff goes up there. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at SurrealRezo, like us on Facebook, visit us at surrealresolution.com, and find this podcast on decibelboost.surrealresolution.com. Also listen to Podcast O&A. They have a new episode out. It's good.
Yes, and it involves debunking discourse, which is always fun.
Always fun. Be sure to keep up with all our written content as well. I will, in fact, have a review of the new Pig Destroyer album before Friday. So, keep an eye out for that, because I'm sure it's going to be some good stuff. And be sure to jump into our Discord if you ever want to, shit post a bunch of dank memes and maybe, tell us where we can find good deals on stuff. And of course, shout out to the producer, Mr. E, for graciously letting me use his music for this podcast. Links to his shit down in the description. Well, that's gonna do it for this week. Thank you all for listening to us every week, as always. And until next time...